All right, Gennady Golovkin and Triple G finally emerges right from the shadows, from under the rock he's been living under. We don't really know. Well, actually, we do know. We didn't know, but now we do know. We didn't know because we haven't heard anything. But they do like this surprise out of nowhere press event. Gennady Golovkin and the DAZN and the dude from DAZN. Not quite sure who he is, but we'll get to him in a minute. And basically, I would say answered, I don't know, maybe 8 out of 10 questions that we all have, right? Things that you've been asking me, I've been asking people, so finally we get answers. So, all right, Gennady Golovkin emerges from the shadows. Okay, it's like a like a vampire. Look, I'm gonna give you my takeaway here. The press thing was like, I don't know, it's like an hour-long conference, okay? And of course, I watched the entire thing so I can basically pluck out the good parts, right? And bring it to you. Kind of like I don't know, a verbal highlight, okay? So, all right, so like I said, we're gonna go over the highlights. Now, my first impression, okay, was Triple G looking pretty good, all right? Looking pretty damn good, okay? He said he's about 172, maybe 174, so he doesn't need a fat camp, and this is exactly what they said. He doesn't need a fat camp, okay, in order to, get ready for his next fight. Doesn't need to drain himself down because, even outside of the ring, he is a constant professional. Okay? So look, here we are. Okay, details. Gennady Golovkin, what are you going to fight? 6 times, twice a year for 3 years. Now, Gennady Golovkin Promotions, they'll promote 2 cards in 2020, featuring Golovkin's fighters, okay, and two other cards in 2021, again, featuring his fighters. So whoever, joins the Gennady Golovkin stable, so basically what that boils down to, you're going to get Gennady Golovkin twice a year, then you're going to get a Gennady Golovkin Promotions twice a year. So you're going to see Golovkin 4 times on DAZN, in 2020 and 2021, and then again in 20, and then in 2022, you're probably just going to see him fight twice. Okay, that's pretty much how it breaks down. So I mean, they're doing a lot of activity here. A lot of I don't want to say special treatment, but this is kind of the VIP treatment from DAZN, okay? So kind of cool. Now, they asked Gennady Golovkin, are you going to retire after your 6-fight deal has ended? He jokingly said, well, I hope I can even do 6 fights. I'm like, oh, what? Like, wait, we'll back up. He's like, yeah, I hope I can even do 6 fights. But he said, I'll continue as long as I can. So I'm assuming they've got some kind of deal worked out where, if he can't continue on, then, he doesn't get the money, of course. It's kind of a living contract, in other words. So, he's got to, what I mean? They're not just going to pay him if he can't, fulfill his obligations, his contractual obligations. So we'll see. Now, my personal thoughts on the subject, I hope this isn't a retirement package, and like I said, I'm going to give him a pass on fight number 1, okay? But he needs to be in good competitive fights, at least like, I would say at least like 3 or 4 out of the 6. I want to see, good competitive fights, moving forward, that kind of thing. So, now, the head honcho from DAZN, which I don't even know the guy's name, but he's basically said, he wanted Gennady Golovkin from the beginning. He said it was a key part, of our business plan, our business model was to bring Triple G on board. They didn't, and then they didn't waste any time. We're probably 10, 15 minutes in. They ask about Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, oh God, here we go, right? The trilogy, he basically said, yes, everyone is on board. This is definitely a fight we're pushing for because it's a fight the fans want. Okay, and that's this dude right here from DAZN. Okay, they jumped right into the Canelo Trilogy. So look, I like how they're already marketing and basically advertising the trilogy. It's almost a package deal considering Canelo beats Jacobs, which we all know he will, or at least I think he will. We'll get to that later. I'll make a prediction video later. But okay, so they continue on by asking Golovkin, do you want the belts? He said, there's too many politics involved, so we just want to focus on being in the best fights, being the best in the division, and it's more about rankings than belts, okay? Very interesting, okay? Again, these are questions we all had. These are questions that all of us had. He's saying, no, we're not really worried about belts. We just want to be in good fights, period. And if the belt's there, cool. But, you know, personally, you know, this was a little confusing. I think it was more of a, I don't know, maybe a politically correct answer because they don't really know what's going to happen. You know, the entire boxing platform has changed. So I think, I don't know, I think everyone is just kind of going through the motions right now, you know. So, and that's how I see it. So, you know, I don't know, because look, I have a hard time, I don't want to say believing, but just buying into what they say, you know, because before it was all about the belts. Now they don't care about the belts. And, you know, so we'll see. We'll just have to see. You know, we'll just see. You know, I don't really want to get too deep into that. But anyway, they go on to talk about Golovkin's age. Okay, he'll be 37 next month. And, you know, they want to know, you know, how does he feel, you know, compared to when, you know, he was in his prime, you know, and, you know, he said he felt good. You know, he doesn't feel like he felt in his prime, but, you know, he basically said, you know, what I've kind of lost with age, I've gained in wisdom and knowledge and things like that. So, you know, I don't know. There was a lot of like just kind of politically correct answers. So now they asked Abel Sanchez the same question, and he said, yeah, he is a different fighter, but he's a smarter fighter. He's more experienced. He's a more experienced fighter, and, you know, he is evolving in a good way. He said, if I felt Triple G could no longer compete at the highest level, I wouldn't be here, nor would he, okay? And again, they said right now he's walking around, you know, at about 172 pounds, so eating healthy, training, you know, living clean, that kind of thing, and, you know, so that'll be a big help, you know, going into the upcoming fight. They also brought up another good point. He said Triple G has never been dominated, okay? Never been beaten, never been exposed. You know, he fought against one of the best fighters out there, Canelo Alvarez, and won both of the fights. Or at a bare minimum, it was incredibly competitive at a bare minimum. So they don't see any signs of wear and tear. Is there a little decline? Yes. But is it like, you know, like they gave the example of Cotto, you know, when Cotto was just dominated, you know, towards the end of his career, you know, and they gave a few other examples. We haven't seen Golovkin just totally dominated, you know, so it was a good way to look at it, you know, so, and it kind of changed my way of looking at things. Like, yes, he's older, but, you know, he even said, you know, even in sparring, like when the cameras are not rolling, no one can dominate Triple G, you know, even in his older years. So now they also asked DAZN, okay, and you guys have been asking me this question, you know, how can you continue to spend this kind of money, you know, on this platform? You know, is it going to be a permanent fixture? I mean, they're throwing so much money around, and they said, yes, you know, we have great investors, and, you know, they're totally confident that they're going to keep the price at $10, and, you know, everything's going well, you know, and on a 1 to 10, he gave it like a 3 or a 4, because the only, you know, real fight they've had so far, well, I'll say real to the casuals, okay, hear me, to the casuals would be Canelo fielding. You know, so, yeah, I mean, and that's something I'm actually concerned about. And I'm going to say boo. Just a big old boo, right? Boo. They asked Golovkin, who's going to win, Canelo or Jacobs? I mean, he gave the most boring answer you could possibly give. You know, he said something like, they're both great fighters, so I'm not going to make a prediction. Crickets. I mean, I was like, whoa, what? I mean, you know, it's like everyone was like, oh yeah, they were really excited to hear Gennady Golovkin's prediction, and he's like, oh no, they're both good fighters, and I'm not going to give a prediction. I mean, talk about letting the air out of the balloon. I mean, my God, bro, develop a personality. Serious. I mean, you know, look, I love Triple G to death, but damn, I mean, come on. You know, he needs to engage a little more, you know, with the fans and the media. I mean, you know, just pick somebody, you know, take a risk, you know, talk a little trash, you know, liven up. I mean, dude, you just got like the lifetime of a deal, like liven the hell up, right? Now, they asked Gennady Golovkin, has he considered moving up in weight, you know, maybe a catch weight, something like that. And again, the typical politically correct blah, blah, blah answer, you know, we're going to get the team together and we'll let you know something at this point, you know, the blah, just blah, blah, blah. You know, so like I said, a few questions we got answers to, but a lot of them we really didn't. They talked about, you know, maybe moving up to fight Smith, okay? That was one thing that they were interested in. And then out of nowhere, it gets a little more interesting, right? Out of nowhere. At this point, I'm about to shut the video down. I'm like, okay, whatever. This is boring as hell. And out of nowhere, you know, the Mexican reporter, he brings up Jaime Munguia, okay, Munguia. and said, you know, the Mexican people want to see this particular matchup. There's a lot of talk, a lot of buzz going on in the Mexican media, and Triple G responded by saying, yes, of course I would love to fight him. You know, he's a good boxer. I want to fight the best. You know, he kind of lit up. You know, you kind of saw a little, you know, a little light in his eye there. You know, so that was really the only thing I saw that captured Golovkin's attention. I mean, it seemed like the trilogy was one thing. Okay, that was one thing. On a 1 to 10, I'll give it a 5. But when they talked about Jaime Munguia, I mean, that was like a 10 plus. You know, so I wouldn't doubt it. Now, you know, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. We'll get, you know, let's just put a pin in that, right? Let's put a pin in that. We'll get to that later on another video. So and also I'm about to read a few comments from you guys, but my overall impression, he looked good. He looked good, but just incredibly boring. Like I didn't see that Triple G charm that we all like. You know, smiling like he was enjoying himself. You know, I don't know. He looked a little stiff, like you're at a business meeting at work that you don't want to be at. You know, and I know Golovkin really doesn't like doing the whole media thing, but what does he like doing? You know, it's like, I don't know. To me, if you're going to be on this platform, DAZN, you know, just engage with the fans. You know, answer a couple of questions. You know, cut loose a little bit. Loosen up. If I could tell Gennady Golovkin anything right now, it would be, hey, lighten up, dude. Just lighten up a little bit, man. Have a little fun. You know. So, but anyway, let's get to a few comments, and then I gotta go. Now, first of all, who in the hell is Gillette Razor? First of all, why don't you have a damn picture? You're not a walking, talking human razor blade, okay? It says, I got lost trying to find Counterpunch boxing news, and I ended up here. I'll show myself up. You mean the people that ripped my name off? Like, really? Okay, look, there's like, I don't know, actually, I take that back. I don't know if Counterpunch Boxing News is one of the people that has stolen my identity, basically my online identity, which I'm sure I could do something about that. But, you know, I don't know if this dude is or not, but there's several channels out there that have like straight up stolen my name. You know, they even put some of my videos on their damn channel. Like a Counterpunch Boxing, they'll take one of my videos and record it and put it on their own channel like it's me, which, whatever, I don't even flag it. You know, I'm not a little bitch like that. But anyway, shout out John Comet. Okay, #1, Counterpunch Boxing. Keep covering the fights from afar. What about a Spence Garcia breakdown? Got it coming. It's coming. It's coming. Power of Gennady Golovkin. Heavy puncher is back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, I ain't got another one here. Thank you, Counter. Much love. And Triple G, yes, is a true champion. Thank you. Okay, right here. Clicked on a video that read Counterpunch Boxing. Didn't recognize your voice, and was not impressed by the copycat channel. The copycat channel. Gotta tell him to change his channel name. Yeah, you know, it's getting to the point to where I might have to. It's getting out of control. But but thank you, man, for the comment. Okay, hey, Counterpunch Boxing, I enjoy your videos where I respect your point of view. Although, here we go. I might not agree with everything you say, but I got to give you props for your experience in the business and knowledge of history. Keep the good work. Salute from Melbourne, Australia. Well, thank you very much, sir. Is it Lil Rask? Thank you. I do appreciate it. And thank you for being mature about it. You know, that's just how you should be. So thank you. Okay. Right here, what is it? Louis 214. At this point, all Canelo decisions will automatically be corrupt wins. You are right. According to the Gennady Golovkin fan base and the Canelo hating fan base, it's sad that you guys chose not to see the beautiful skills Canelo displays every time he fights. Now, what do you mean? I give Canelo a ton of credit for his boxing ability. You cut away the politics. You cut away the paid-off judges. You cut away the corruption. You cut away the mismatch. You cut away the catch. He's a beautiful boxer, you know, incredibly talented. And that's what's such a shame is all of that gets watered down by the bad. You know, you have someone that man, I mean, could be in just iconic fights and you know, like guys in their prime. Let's just start with that. You know, and like I said, I don't want to babble for 30 minutes. You guys know how I feel about it, but yeah, he's an incredible boxer. But it's it's the politics, it's the corruption, it's all of that. You know, the Canelo favoritism, you know, the Vegas cash cow, you know, the household name, whatever you want to call it, right? The corporate fighter, you know, it's all of that that ruins it for the real boxing fans. So, and you know, even Canelo himself said, you know, if Jacobs, if it goes to a decision, you know, he's like, I know I'm going to get the nod. You know, he more or less said it. So now Canelo by bullshit. What's up, Brian? Shout out, Brian. Canelo by bullshit will be the outcome, so it doesn't matter. But isn't it funny? Canelo put in a rehydration clause against Jacobs because this is the first time that if he didn't, he'd be outweighed. Yes, it isn't. Again, like I was just talking about, it's never an even playing field with Canelo. Never. It just never. I mean, we can go break down any fight you want to. Any fight you want to. The last guy that had an advantage on him was Mayweather, and look what happened. You know, look what happened. You know, so, but all right, guys, look, I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, anyway, Gennady Golovkin, a 6-fight deal, 3 years, 2022, 2 promotional gigs, 2021, 2 more Gennady Golovkin promotions. So I'm incredibly excited as a boxing fan. I just want to see Triple G, you know, kind of develop a personality.